What it do, Dre? In the building. Mia.
Hey, Peter. That's my buddy.
Peter.
And
Nice.
Jen.
Jen. It's about to be lit.
Max.
Let's see. Is
And get my little boomerang for the gram. I'm going ahead.
Oh, there she is.
Yay,
Jay.
Oh,
you got the curl
Yes.
I know, right? But I'm trying to figure this out. Hold on.
This all the people, right? I'm trying to remember the flyer.
Right.
Yeah, this is everybody.
Yeah.
Lift y'all up. All right, here we go.
How's everybody doing?
Oh, good.
Hello, Lego Fan 101.
Hi, Jordan. I follow you on Twitter.
Hey, Crystal. Hi, Kylie. Okay. Now y'all trying to all talk because y'all getting highlighted, but it's okay.
You got it.
Gotta calm me down.
All right, so kind of I don't want to be on like CP time, so hello, this is Deborah Anderson, the Black Woman Animator, coming back to you with another video, and this is a live stream. I called it "What Y'all Think" because we got things to say. So first, I just want to start off with like everyone introducing yourselves and your relation to the art and animation industry. Just a really quick bio. We can start with Jordan.
Hello, my name is Jordan Eric Mitchell. I am a background painter and color stylist by trade. I am moving from working in advertising as a storyboarder for commercials and as a layout designer. So my experience with animation has been working on shorts and music videos with your good boy Chaz down here. And really, I just want to create art that's more inclusive for everybody. Everybody deserves to be represented, and everybody deserves to enjoy what they see on TV.
You gotta say that.
Yeah.
Monique.
Okay, yeah. My name is Monique. I'm in short like an animation blogger. I have an animation podcast. I work in the industry and production management, and I have an organization called Diverse Tunes where we have panel discussions, traveling panel discussions, highlighting the need for diversity in the animation community, in the industry. That's it. That's a short version.
Darren.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jaren. I'm a freelance illustrator, animator. I work mostly on the indie side. I bounce back and forth between children's books and animated projects. So,
Chazzy Chaz.
Hey everyone, I'm Chaz. I am a animation director and writer. I own a boutique animation production company, and we specialize in music videos, short animated series, and also developing original content. And we also look to put characters on screen that are inclusive of what the world actually looks like.
And again, I'm Deborah Anderson, the Black Woman Animator. I'm a 3D modeler. I just go by Black Woman Animator because regular people don't know what an animator is or what a modeler is. But I don't do animation. And then I have this YouTube channel where I try to address topics on animation, from trying to get kids involved, trying to get parents more comfortable with their child doing something art related, and highlighting Black artists or Black animation professionals. So that we can see people that look like us, amongst a myriad of other topics. So feel free to check out any of my other videos, and feel free to follow all these people on this live cast. So first off, I want to say rest in peace to George Floyd. His death is what started a lot of the movement in various communities, this new movement I hope that we get justice for his death, and the momentum that is being built will be a movement and not just a moment. And a lot of change will be ever flowing and permanent. So a lot of artists and people in other industries have gotten the confidence that they needed to speak up about injustices in other parts of our lives, particularly our careers. So I would like to ask you all, what things did you all start to see as a result of this, particularly the positives from this invigoration over the past couple weeks?
I can go. So I think, I think, one of the great things that's come out of, all of this is just the support from not just states in the United States, but seeing like overseas, just the awareness of, what Black people have been going through for a very long time, just now kind of, other individuals who are non-Black kind of actually getting it. Like, I feel like people are actually really grasping what it is that, we as Black people go through. And then just to another extent, the support and opportunities for Black artists, and whether that be a free portfolio review or like a free storyboard class, or, something along the lines of something like that, I think is those have been kind of the cool, positive things that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to, I guess, kind of piggyback is like for starting like an opportunity like this, like for you, Deborah and Chaz, I know I interact with you guys like predominantly on social media, but I haven't actually like formally met you guys. And it's just brought so much of like just how big and vast our community is, particularly being Black in the animation industry. And I guess a positive is also just like kind of like with the opportunities and just gaining more awareness of who's out there. Also, like, I guess visibility, because I feel like I function in my own corner of the internet, and recent events, I felt like obviously people have been paying attention, or maybe they've just been quietly watching from a distance. So that's been cool to know that like my work and what I'm doing is definitely has gotten out there a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel the exact same way about that. For me, as someone who's literally been working on switching careers permanently from advertising to animation, like just the fact that my work, even when I had like a few hundred followers, was like I would be lucky to get maybe about 10 likes on something, but now it seems like no matter what art I post, I'm getting at minimum a couple hundred. 100. And even seeing that there are people in this industry that I look up to that are actually out here and supporting it, knowing that that's type of solidarity actually exists in this industry, not only makes me feel better about the fact that I'm making this big switch, because this is something that I don't see in my current field. And so it makes me feel like I'm making the right choice. And when I meet other Black and brown kids that want to do the exact same thing, I feel more confident telling them that this is actually something that they can do. So it's knowing that this level of support is like out here. I think it's definitely something that has been long overdue, and it's only going to make us that there's like more people that want to actually put their stories out there and put their art out there as part of this industry and make it even more diverse and tell all these new stories.
Yeah.
I think for me, the biggest thing is seeing all of the community that's like coming out of it. Like there's the Drawing While Black hashtag. There's all these different discords happening. There's all these creatives that may have been separated by distance, but with the internet, like they're bridging the gaps. It's like, it's so cool to see how many other Black creatives I've been able to connect with, like you guys, as well as like all in the Twitterverse and the Instagram world. So I think that's pretty cool too.
And you got a scholarship?
You sure did.
That schoolism.
Yeah, I got the schoolism scholarship. I just threw my hat in the pile. I was like, let's see. Well, we'll see what happens. And they emailed me, and I was just like, oh, okay. So
I was so happy for you.
That was cool. Yeah,
it was
and
cool.
I feel like the opportunity too. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like the scholarship thing maybe came before. I'm not sure. I don't know the timeline, but definitely a lot of people giving money to sponsor scholarships for Black and brown people was definitely a push from the George Floyd thing. So I'm glad, because I mean, I took a lot of screenshots of her post. Who was the person?
I know Victoria Ying was like a huge force behind that. So shout out to her.
Yeah, so I just saw her multiple tweets of like, oh, now we got 5 scholarships. Now we got 30 scholarships. Now we got 50 scholarships. So that was a great push. Some things that I've seen, and it's kind of catalyst into other things where it started off with, you know, black artists feeling that they can speak out in this time because from just being tired or whatever, and just having the confidence to speak out. With people like Bree and is it Nyla?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's been a powerhouse.
Yeah, she always been talking. But yeah, so like with people paying attention to some of the people who've always been talking as well. But and then, you know, the portfolio reviews and something else that kind of, from all this fervor, the animation paid me hashtag, the MoGraph paid me hashtag. So getting to see people's salaries, being more transparent about that. So there's a lot of invigoration, you know. For my on my personal Twitter, I don't really tweet at all, but on my artist, my Black Woman Animator Twitter, I just post my videos most often. So I've tweeted more in this past 2 weeks than I've tweeted in the last like 7 to 10 years.
Wow.
Now you wake up like, let me tell y'all something.
Right. Just because Twitter is just like the way I would use Twitter, it would be, I wouldn't get anything done. So
well, I think too, you know, it's all like we're still like in the middle of like a pandemic too, not to like bring that up, but it's like, but
seriously,
people have like time, and you know, like, you know, I don't know about everyone else, but like I know you know, that kind of first week, because, you know, I feel like we all probably saw the George Floyd video before it even became mainstream news, just because I feel like that's how these things always go. But those, you know, those few weeks, it was just like I had to like step away from social media for a little bit, because it felt like doom scrolling, like where anything that you scroll, you're just seeing bad, like bad energy, bad news, and that stuff is draining. And so I would say like, yeah, in the last like week, it's been cool to just see like the community, like everything that everyone's saying, and us kind of joining together and really just saying like, hey, we actually want, like, even with the pandemic, it was like, I don't know if we want to go back to normal, but I feel like this tilted the scale to being like, we can't go back to normal, because that's not, we kind of do need some reform kind of throughout. I always say it's like if this was like a software, it's time for an update, you know. Just it's time for an update, or maybe a new program.
We definitely need a new normal in multiple areas, whether it be in relation to COVID or in relation to our careers. So it's just like, we ain't going back.
Nope.
And as a form of self-care, I have not watched a video of a Black person being killed since Walter Scott. So I am kind of upset that I accidentally saw the older gentleman that got pushed. Because that video was so short, it was like you couldn't really help but see what happened. But I didn't like seeing that, because I don't like watching those videos, because that is a form of trauma that we are like invoking when we watch that type of stuff. So just I haven't seen the George Floyd, and I will not see the George Floyd video.
Yeah, you know, I'm exactly with you there.
It's important to take that self-care, you know, as well, because that's always been my biggest thing, is just, you know, making sure that everyone is just taking care of themselves during this time, because there's so much that is 2020 is what 2012 thought it was gonna be, you know, like it literally is, you know, there are those forms of self-care, and it's like, yeah, you open up a Twitter or Instagram and you start just seeing stuff that can affect you mentally. And it's a lot like a diet, you know, like if you eat bad food, it's going to affect your mood and energy. Social media is like literally the same thing. It's like your diet. What are you consuming? If you're just consuming negative stuff, you're going to be tired. You're not going to really feel like up or productive, you know. And, you know, for me as like an artist, it's cool to just see that like stuff on the internet actually translating to real world change, because I feel like a lot of stuff that people used to talk about on social media like doesn't really matter. It's like it's a niche market still, you know. Twitter, not the entire world isn't on Twitter, the entire world's not on Instagram, and so it's like to see kind of like us having conversations on those platforms and, you know, influencing and affecting real change. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, so the reason I want to bring everyone together is because as people are enacting this change, I feel like there's what people are doing, and then there's actually how we feel about it. So
thanks for making that distinction.
And so I want to start with and I want people to share their honest opinions so that if there are people who are implementing these things, that they can see from our perspective why things look like we don't know if we trust it. So I'll just say that plainly. And so we'll start with the portfolio reviews. So something that I tweeted like a day or two after that started was that as people continually offer portfolio reviews to Black artists, please make sure you're not offering with the mindset that there is a lack of diversity because there's a lack of qualified people, because that's not the main reason. So there's a lack of access to plenty that are qualified. So what are your responses to anything like the portfolio reviews or the free things that are not what we probably really need?
I completely agree with you on that. I've noticed that there are people being offered portfolio reviews that, in my opinion, should have already been working in this industry at an advanced level. And it's like, why do they need a portfolio review? They should technically be your boss by now. They've been doing this for 15 years, and they're just now getting noticed. It's like, it's one thing to offer them like that for Black artists that are maybe still in school, or if they're still learning themselves, because then you're fostering another generation of artists to come join this industry. But when you have people that I've seen at these conventions 4 or 5 years, they have amazing work, they have the portfolio for it, and it's just like some guy who's been in this industry for years that's like, well, I can look at your portfolio. It's like, this person's been doing the exact same thing that you've been doing for longer. It's just that because of lack of diversity in your industry, they're not getting the same eyes that you do. You do it. This is why I was more on board with people doing scholarships for these learning things like that, rather than just like offering out these willy-nilly like portfolio reviews, because those are going to foster with that want to learn these new skills instead of trying to like, basically, it almost comes off as people trying to take pity on some of these artists. Like, if I had a nickel for every time me or somebody else I know that's been trying to get in this industry heard, why aren't you already working on a show? I could buy the studio.
That's real.
That is just that there's already a lack of eyes. There's a lack of qualified artists. It's just that there's a lot of artists being passed by, and there are plenty of reasons because of that. And usually all boils down to you're not the typical face that someone thinks about when they want to hire at a studio.
Yeah. I think one thing I want people to consider when they're doing these portfolio reviews is, one, not everybody needs, like Jordan was saying, not everyone needs a portfolio review. Some people literally just aren't getting these opportunities because there are people that feel threatened by literally the way they look. They check off all of the other boxes. They just look different. Two, another thing that I don't want to happen with these portfolio reviews, while I think it's cool, I don't want it to become another form of gatekeeping. Because like you were saying, Deborah, don't use this as an excuse to say, well, you don't have these opportunities probably because you're not qualified. No, it's not because I'm not qualified. It's because I'm literally not being offered the same opportunities everyone else is. I'm literally being overlooked. And I don't want the portfolio reviews to essentially just be another form of gatekeeping as an excuse as to not hire someone.
That's real. I think too, just like taking it like a step further is like, I know a lot of, at least from what I've seen, a lot of the people who are offering these portfolio reviews aren't even in positions to hire people, which is another issue in that of itself. But, you know, I think it's getting people to realize like that's just one step. There's several more steps that need to come after that. And, you know, if you're offering portfolio reviews, are you also checking toxic behavior in the workplace, at your studio, with your high, like, are you going to higher ups and saying, you know, hey, I've seen these things. I think that's been the craziest thing for me, is to just see a lot of these threads of Black artists who are working at studios and just hearing about the environment that exists there. It's like, all right, like, you can offer your portfolio review, but like, you need to do more. Like, don't think that that's it. Like, there's several more steps that you need to take. This is just the very tip of the iceberg. And so, like, I think, you know, for like college students and younger artists, absolutely take advantage of those, but also just understand that it's like, you know, it's still not really getting to the root of the issue, or the larger, you know, systemic issues that exist.
So,
And I think also really quick, you should pass, if you're not in the position, like Chad said, if you're not in the position to hire, are you passing those portfolios on to people who are, or are you just sitting on them?
Right.
So my concern too is that with people that have opened themselves to do portfolio reviews, I know they've gotten like hundreds of responses, and my concern is like are these still going to be thorough reviews then if you are maybe possibly overwhelmed with the amount of people that submitted? So I have one young lady that I mentor. She showed me like a screenshot of just like a couple words for like her real review, because she does modeling and rigging, and this was one of the few threads that was just not like illustration or like base type of stuff. And so they were just like, oh yeah, put some like more modeling work, but it's like anybody could have probably told her that from looking at it. So why open up that invitation? And then another young lady I know that wants to get into storyboards or have a stronger reel also got a pretty like base level portfolio review. So it's like, what else? Like, what is coming from this? Like, it has to be tangible feedback that you're still giving to the people, despite the amount of people that may have responded to your call for portfolio reviews.
And something that I thought of while people were talking was the people who are submitting for portfolio reviews there might be a higher percentage of people who are not ready. So don't take who is submitting for portfolio reviews as the people who has all the options, because the people who have been in the industry for 5-10 plus years, like some of us, we either are not going to submit portfolio reviews, or we might think of, okay, this portfolio reviews is a way to get my work in front of, so you'll be strategic. But I'm not sure how many people think like that. But don't let a lot, I mean, not a lot, but like if there are a lot of unprepared people, that is still not a representation of everybody who's out there who is prepared. And then I saw a tweet from Omar Najm. A lot of this Black creators send me your stuff. I'll give you notes. Stuff is kind of weird to me. This ain't a matter of notes. The peeps I know have been grinding for over a decade. They're so good. Just hire them or cast them honestly. Like Jordan said, you should be working for them. And then there's this response. I won't say the name, but it's just an offer. I'm sorry if it is offensive. If people don't want to take the offer, don't need it, don't like me, that's all fine. And we don't need defensiveness in this time, because something that we all know, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. So if you can't offer me a job, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to get offensive or offended by us acknowledging the gaps.
Yeah.
So the next thing is the diversity excuses. So I'm going to combine this with not feeling welcome in Facebook groups and other spaces, because this is a kind of combination. So I'm in this game development group, and a white guy did say, okay, when I go to game dev meetups, it's all, and he put like emojis of a bunch of white people, and then how do we get it to, and he made diverse emojis and stuff like that. But the people in response, which are a lot of foreign people who don't understand the landscape of America, so I really don't feel like they should be commenting on anything. But so one person says, make Black people interested in game development, force them to attend meetings even when they don't want to and aren't qualified to be there. Another person says, no thanks, let it be what it naturally becomes, stop making everything about identity. They are all tech professionals. That's their identity. Another person says, how about you leave people alone to do what they want instead of twisting their arm into it? And then another person says, how about we focus on skill, creativity, and ambition and not skin color or gender? So what is your response to things like that?
The industry made it about identity when we decided to exclude people based on the way they look.
Yeah.
If we went off skills, if we went off people's portfolios and the work that they put in, let's be honest, a lot of us run laps around people that have these jobs and opportunities. Mic drop.
No,
So
that's real.
I mean, I'll respond if y'all ain't got to say.
No, I think like it's interesting because that last thing I think stuck with me because I'm someone who like I'm a Black kid from Cleveland, Ohio, and like where I grew up, there's no animation, anything. There's no film. Like the industry, it's just non-existent where I grew up. But I knew at 10 years old I wanted to be an animation director, and I worked my ass off for literally since then until now to try to be one. And no matter, any time, it's not a matter of like lack of ambition or creativity or skill. It's literally like, and again, this is because a lot of people who aren't born and raised here, they have a hard time kind of understanding the context of the treatment of Black Americans, in America. It's they're missing a lot of the context, but so much of it comes down to just access and accessibility, and me having to save and work to afford a Cintiq, to be able to afford Toon Boom, to be able to afford all these softwares. It's like there's so many like barriers that you have to figure out how to overcome because you're not in like a position where you're growing up and that stuff's just normalized around you. Like you see other animators or background artists or modelers, you just like, it's just interesting to me that like, I know for me, a lot of the people that I've met kind of who are also interested in animation, it was hard because it just didn't exist.
So I want to piggyback off of, sorry, Jordan, what Chaz was saying, and I'm going to share a story too about accessibility. So in saying that like, oh, like Black people or like we don't have a diverse crowd to come to our events, well, why isn't like, how can you get your event to be shared in these communities? There's like a wall, if you will, from these people hosting these events and trying to partner with maybe similar initiatives to say like, how can we tap into the arts community in these different neighborhoods or communities that we want to come, right? So the story I want to get into is that when I was in high school, my mom told me to approach my art teacher asking what like New York City art programs are there for the summer. My teacher opened up a drawer full of different like flyers and pamphlets for stuff for Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, different art camps, Saturday programs, after school programs. She went through most of the semester, didn't share any of that with us, right? She was holding on to that information. I don't know why she did it. Maybe because we were predominantly like a Black and diverse school and she didn't think we would be interested. But there's a wall with getting the information about like these events to these communities. And I don't feel like a lot of the organizers try hard enough to say like, well, here are some Black people in this group, in our Facebook group. We want to have a more diverse attendees. Can you boost this on your page or with your community? Like they get really lazy about all that stuff. And people don't relay information as well. So it's not like a lack of interest. Is how am I supposed to know this thing exists if like I don't know it exists?
Exactly. And that again, like kind of ties into just growing up in the Midwest, like in a inner city was like you just didn't even know. There was no context, no knowledge. There was like it was like being like stuck. It's like a pipe being like stopped up.
Yeah, and
like,
she told me if I wanted to share it with my classmates, then I can make photocopies and share it. So I was like, okay. And I made photocopies and I shared it. And I was like, but you're the art teacher. Like, why wouldn't you share this stuff with us, So it's like, there's just so many forces really that we don't know that we're fighting against.
I also think there's like a system there's accustomed to going through. So most of the time when they funnel these things, they funnel them through art schools. Most art schools are predominantly white and they're predominantly extremely expensive. Most Black creative, either if they get to art school, they're not finishing, they're having to drop out. Either it's too expensive, life happens, something happens, and a lot of them aren't finishing. or B, a lot of people that are wanting to get in the animation industry don't even take school as that traditional route. They're just jumping off the cliff and building the plane as they land. So I think they have to be more strategic, like you were saying, using Facebook groups, reaching out to different community organizers, because you know they're there. You're just not willing to extend the olive branch.
Right.
Let's just call it what it is. Y'all don't extend the olive branch.
And if you think that like art schools are where like a lot like Black talent exclusively is, you can't just look there. You have to get creative, and that's why it's so important with like Black Women Animator and Black Women Animate and like Bree and Nyla, Black and Animated. Just all those communities are so important, because it's like you can't just like expect to look at an art school, because again that population of Black students is going to be so low, you know.
And they're even excluded within that.
Several other like artists who are taking non-traditional routes.
I just wanted to say that in terms of these topics like that, I was one of the lucky ones. Like, I'm from Pasadena. I live literally about 20 minutes away from the art center. It was actually right next to my high school. But the thing is that, for at least from where I come from, I was never meant to make it this far like that. Like, my friends growing up, like, they literally stopped hanging with me with that because I wouldn't go break into houses. That's just where I was at. If I wanted to draw, I basically had to do it on my own. My high school art teacher had no confidence in me whatsoever. She was very busy trying to push her little white girl prodigy the entire time, even though I was the one with the interest. I only was able to get to where I was because I had queer women and queer Black women behind me that pushed me to keep drawing. They showed me my yearbook that gave me a free copy of Photoshop to learn how to do digital painting. They said they helped me convince my parents to give me those Saturday art classes, or classes like that, where I was still the only Black kid in that entire building for about 3 years. No one looked like me.
Yeah,
that's crazy. In 2020, people still find themselves saying they're the only Black person in the space.
So, and when I finally got a chance to go to art school, they're really the only ones behind me. They convinced my parents to let me go. And when I went to that school, I found I went from being the only Black person there to maybe being the one of like 3 Black people in every class.
Another reason why, even if you just submitted to animation schools or schools with animation programs, like for example, for me, I went to Rochester Institute of Technology. In my freshman class, I was one of 2 Black people out of 60, me and a guy, Chris. And then there might have been like maybe 10 women and all. I didn't really keep track of that number. But I had a professor that I took. So I had to change my major because my first animation was a bit too long. And so I had to take the class 3 times. And I didn't take the class from the mean lady who worked for Disney. And if I had taken her class, I would have passed the class because she kept people to 1 minute. But I didn't receive that much direction from my professor. But I took this class 3 times with the professor, and he still could not remember my name.
Wow.
He called me another Black woman's name, which I know all the Black people in all of film and animation. And I had never heard her name, so I don't even know who she was. Like, what random Black person are you calling me? This is not even a person in the film and animation department, unless I skipped a Black person. But so even in animation school, I mean, I've come more out of my shell since then, but I didn't really hang out with my peers because I got tired of being able to have a full conversation with you in class, and then you ignore me when I'm on the quad. So, like, and you act like I don't exist, even though I just literally had a conversation with you like a human being. So, I didn't. And then one of the first kind of hangouts, you know, animation people can be weird. So, just one of the first hangouts, some dude ended up without his pants on, and I was just like, this is not my. Like, what? We're playing apples to apples. How are you in your underwear? But anyway, so it just wasn't my vibe to hang out with my peers. And so even as an animation student, I still probably wouldn't get that information because they're probably sending it to specific people, because there are those like superstar people where they are catering to them. There is one person, I won't mention her name, but she like won a festival or something like that, and they just loved, like, her name was mentioned all the time, and I went to
becomes
school
a poster child.
See, I'm petty. Once I started peep that, they hated me at Scared. I'm just gonna go on record and say they hated me. I was jeering, give me my A, merchant. So you talking to this student all the time, you're gonna talk to me, hey, how you doing? It says here that you're supposed to have office hours. Let's have those office hours right now.
And I think that goes back to just like that comment of like it's a lack of us, like someone's twisting our, like you'd have to twist our arm to find these opportunities. It's like, no, because I was the same way at DePaul, and like DePaul had a pretty great like animation program and environment that was very inclusive. But again, I was still like maybe one of 5 Black people in the entire program, and they had thousands of students. And so it was like one of those things though, where I was like, all right, I'm not going to get lost in this sea of other students. I'm going to actually go bang on professors' doors. I'm going to ask for feedback on all my projects. I'm going to show them projects that aren't even school related. This is stuff I'm doing outside of school, and I'm trying to get their feedback. So they know that like, hey, we exist. Like people like Black artists like us are out here, and we are like here. You know, it's just wild to me that someone would say like you'd have to twist your arm for an opportunity like that. It's like
you literally have to advocate for yourself, because even when I was in class and, you know, there's class participation and you go up there and present your work, and they were fully capable of telling the person before me what was wrong with their models or lighting or rendering, and then the person after me, but it would seem like people thought I was going to cuss them out or something if they gave me constructive criticism. And I'm like one of the best people to take constructive criticism. Even if you word it badly, I probably could take it very well. And so I literally had to go up there with questions. Luckily, some of my professors would critique me, but it was just like, I'm not going to get mad at you or something. Like, you can critique me. That's how I become better. But people would skip over me in that too.
I was the same way, and it got to the point at Scam they pulled me aside because I was so aggressive with telling my professors, you're going to engage me. You're not going to ignore me. I'm not asking anything out of the ordinary. It's not like I'm at your office outside of office hours. We're literally in class, and you will not engage with me. And it got to the point where they pulled me aside, and they were like, either you calm down, or we're gonna make it really hard for you to like fly through this program. But I had to make the decision, like, am I gonna stay here and suffer, or am I gonna figure this out on my own? So I ended up having to leave. Like I left. I was like, I'm not gonna do it. I can figure this out on my own. I'm just like, the hoops that y'all are making me jump through when I'm literally paying to be here just like everyone else. No.
Yeah, I definitely went through. Oh, go for it.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was saying I went through a lot of that too, and I always think about, in hindsight, I wish I didn't keep up with that. It's just that for me, I had the pressure of being like my parents like only child that can actually get a college degree. Like my brother has special needs, and so and my dad has two children before me, but they don't have degrees, so I had to be the one to get a college degree. So, but in hindsight, I wish I could have told people that's like, you know what, this isn't worth it, and it's like did schoolism, did CDA at that, because honestly, at that, a lot of things there are good aspects to college, to going to art school, but in terms of accessibility, price, the type of like BS you go through, like Jaren did, like that, it really isn't worth it when you could spend like a quarter, like not even a quarter of that, and get a full-fledged art education. And so I just want to say that's like, so if anybody else is out there thinking that they have to be the one to get the college degree, you don't have to. Not for this. Not for this. It's not worth it.
No, I'll be honest. Most of the opportunities I've got, or almost all of them, they never asked for a degree.
Nope.
I mean, just even just working in management, production management, or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can have a degree from anywhere. Like even some people that end up running their like smaller studios. One lady I worked for was like a psych major or something like that. She was doing something completely different and then just wanted to open up an animation studio, and she does it. Like, you know, there's
And so another tweet I saw was, in response to being told there's no diversity in certain roles, people say, well, those job roles should go to the best candidate, not to skin color. So they're saying that Black people can't possibly be the best. And if Black people are hired, it's only ever due to race. So that's what a takeaway I want people to have from this particular part of the conversation is that when people immediately respond with it should be due to like the most qualified, I feel even if it's not your intention, it's like you're saying that Black people are not qualified. Mm-hmm. And we really want you to stop saying that.
That is. And in my experience, the people, the Black artists who have been able to break through into the industry are leaps and bounds better than probably 90% of the other artists at that studio. And they're still they're not directors. They're not like supervising producers. They're not showrunners. They're not like they are 1000% qualified. It's just you're judging it off of a bias and a prejudice.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you're assuming that all the people in their position are qualified to be there because we've had bosses in whether it was in the art and animation industry or in other jobs where we're like, how did you get this job? So yeah, there shouldn't be an assumption on the other end either. And then we all know it's who you know. It's not. In animation, you have to know what you're doing most times. But it's who you know. So there's this idea that because the white person is in the position, they're most likely going to tell their friend about it, and their friend is most likely going to look like them and be another white male. And so not that we're incapable of making friends with various people, but we shouldn't have to make friends with various people to get the opportunities that we need, because it's not a good strategy to use.
Can I speak on that for a moment? Because that was literally me like about 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. Like I was speaking a lot about basically anti-Blackness that's I've been noticing in the art community. And I started getting messages from people saying that if I keep talking out about this, people are going to take me as aggressive. Mm-hmm. And I already had people telling me that the way I'm going about this is aggressive. Almost to the point it was making me feel bad about who I am with that, because they're like, even just me talking about my life in general was being seen as intimidating and aggressive. And it's like, no, this is literally how I live. Like, I can't be made to feel bad about these things. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and then when I mentioned that, they're like, well, some other artists like that may not recommend you if they think you're too aggressive. And I was like, well, then why would I want to work with them in the first place? Right. And I had to make that choice in myself. That while I don't really censor myself like that, I do word myself in certain ways. That's like, why am I going through all this trouble because some douchebag that's out here 40 years like that doesn't like how I speak about my Black experience. And it's like, I'm not going to give that up for someone else's satisfaction. And so I was even making the point that even now talking about these events, and people see how angry I am, and they take it as aggressive like that, and it's like, that's too bad, because there are more important things. The fact that I can keep talking about the fact that we're talking about this now means that someone else shouldn't have to have this conversation later.
Right.
And that means, yeah. Oh, go ahead. No,
Jordan, I was going to say, I don't think that makes you angry or it doesn't make or aggressive at all. Like, that's not you have to get people to see what it is like to be a Black minority, and just the challenges that we have to overcome every single day, the stuff that people who aren't Black don't even realize that we go through. And so for someone to assume that you're being aggressive, it's like, no, again, that's where you can just start to see that, and that bias and that prejudice already of how they view just all Black people. It starts to come through, and it's like, no, you're speaking your mind, you're speaking passionately, you're speaking about your heart about something you love, an art and industry that you love, just like the person, everyone in the animation industry, I assume, loves. And it's like, that's crazy that I don't think you're aggressive or angry at all about how you speak, how you are. And I know you a little bit personally, but also just from what I've seen you on Twitter and on social media, like that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's so interesting because we're expected to have amazing portfolios. We're expected to do networking. We're expected, and then on top of that, I have to be non-threatening. I have to come across as non-threatening. I can't be too animated because then you might take me as an angry black person, or I can't be too excited for something because you see that as threatening. Like there's nothing I can do about your intimidation. Like if I'm not threatening you, you have no reason to feel threatened.
Mm-hmm. It's just these preconceived notions that they have about Black people like that, which becomes the most upsetting. Because even where some people are networking, when I do the same things, people act like there's something I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of just like, like even when I'm just like talking to some people like that, they think I'm playing this weird long game where I'm going to show up in 40 years like that. It's like, see, I got you. And it's like, no, that's not what I care about at all. Because at least when I'm talking to other artists, I don't want anything from you like that. If anything, I'm looking for people to paint with because it's kind of hard to do that these days.
Yeah, disconnect. Bye.
Yeah, because honestly, like outside of maybe the random arts industry like that, there's not really many people to paint with around here. So it'd be nice to be able to talk to other artists like I did back in school. But it's like sometimes people look. It's like there's always this weird thing when you're Black like that. There's always someone suspecting you of some shit.
It's also like you know, I'm interested in like the psychology of people, and so it almost feels like there's a bit of guilt that comes out when people say, you know, you start to see the preconceived notions coming out about just like artists and like the animation industry, and it's just like. No, yeah, again, like we're the qualified people are out here, and it's so much of it is just that like implicit bias that's coming out. And to like just go back to the point about like friends, for example, it's like, you know, if you are like, let's say you're a non-Black person, and you have the opportunity to like tell your director, like, should I go with Chaz or should I go with, you know, this other non-Black person? You know, they're going to look at the work environment and who else is around them. And that's what they're going to base it off of, like, who would be a good fit. And like, it's that like, again, Jordan, you hit the nail right on the head where it's like, I wouldn't want to like if that is what, if it's such a big deal at that point, like I almost don't even like want it to be a, like, why, like, I don't want to make it all about like race, but it's like, I wish that it was just more of like a conversation between two human beings as opposed to like, do I hire a Black person or a white person? And it's like, if you would just talk to like these artists as like human beings, you would start to just kind of script back, I think, a lot of that bias. But you have to like deconstruct like the workplace and that environment and just understand the like contextual, you know, your part in it too. Everyone, it plays a part in this whole thing, right? And so you have to figure out where your role is and what you can do to help start to turn that tide.
Yeah, I actually I shot a video, but it sucked. So I have to reshoot it. But there's the idea of culture fit not being a barrier to diversity, because if you don't house your culture fit values around more general things that a bunch of people can have, and that this is even the unspoken things like, oh, do they like anime? Do they like Star Wars? Like that's what people are basing culture fit on, as opposed to, are they a troubleshooter? Are they a hard worker? So and this is in every industry, like culture fit needs to be re-examined, because you're going to pick someone just like everybody else. If your culture fit definition is not appropriate, it's like based on things that don't even apply to the workplace. Like, oh, like, do they wear this certain kind of thing? Do they go to like Comic-Con and all this stuff? Like if you're talking to this person and you can kind of gauge that maybe they have different interests, then you're like, oh, well, they don't fit the culture. Well, your culture sucks then.
There have been so many.
Sometimes you don't even know that some people have, like, it always throws people off. Like when I meet people and they find out how much of a comic book head I am, looking at me, you don't see that at all. But when you start when you actually take the time to remove your biases and have conversation, you'll realize Dungeons and Dragons, comic books, all of that. But you don't, because you don't associate this visibility with those things that you normally partake in.
Exactly.
It's like too. It's like, I like D&D and like Star Wars, but like just a little bit. There's other stuff that I like too.
Right.
I love hip hop. I love music. I love jazz. I love R&B. I love there's like we're not monolithic in our interests.
Right. Most people would think that I like westerns and kung fu. Plot twist.
Right.
But we still can have a human connection without having to have all of the same interests.
Right, exactly.
There's beauty in being different. There's nothing wrong with being different. Not everything has to be aligned and be the same. It actually improves the workflow. It improves the stories that you tell. It improves the morale. It opens people up to different experiences.
I think that's definitely it. And if it wasn't for the fact that we had to constantly decode these layers of like discrimination and racism and like misogyny, we could honestly be able to sit down and have these conversations. Because of that, it's like you could just be able to sit. You could just be Jeremy Richards, the woman who loves D&D and comics, and I could just be the guy who paints trees and plays with his dog. But instead of that, we have to be Black on top of that.
Yeah.
We have to see someone at the end of the day still like, do we hire the Black person? And it's like, no, you could hire the dude who like paints trees very well to paint your trees for your show. And that's what it should be.
This is, I guess, a little bit off tangent, but you can also feel when you are hired basically to fulfill some sort of diversity quota, because still the studio culture isn't really welcoming. It's just we don't want to look like we're racist, so we hired you. And I found myself leaving studios because of what you were saying, Deborah. Like, I'm talking, everybody's my coworkers, but then once we're in the elevator, it's like nobody knows me anymore. Or if we're on the street, nobody knows me. And I was like, this is weird. We just spent like 12 hours together. And then, so that was like a little side tangent, but you can feel when you're you're hired for this particular reason.
And you don't have to talk about Black things to talk to us.
Please.
You could just talk about
regular things.
We can talk about anything.
They try so hard.
Has anyone else been hired and then when they invite you in, do they realize you're Black?
I hope not.
I definitely do because of my name. No one knows what nationality I am, or where I come from.
It usually throws people off because I always put J. So when I walk in, they're always expecting a man, not a woman.
Yeah, like that's definitely happened to me for a few clients. Like they think that, I guess they think that I'm some 6 foot tall, proper dude from a frat, and then they're like, "Oh, what's up?" And then also that they want to start using Av.
Oh my god!
They constantly call me Michael Jordan.
No.
And it's like, you had to choose I'm just like, why do you have to choose the one other Black person that you can think of with the name Jordan? But
so let's talk about the improper implementation of diversity. So Monique, you mentioned quotas. So I created the post about how to properly hire qualified people.
Thank God. I sent that out, I blasted it.
And people are responding to me, and luckily I didn't get a lot of stuff about the qualified because I purposely put qualified in there, and I actually I tweeted it at first and I had to delete it because I put, for the first 2 points, I put people of color, and I'm like, no, when I mean Black, you gotta say Black. So I'm like, wait, delete, then put Black.
People of color, people don't want to acknowledge that people of color and Black are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing. When you say people of color, you're not talking about Black people. Say Black. Say his chest. It's okay.
Yeah.
And a capital B too.
Capital B. Yeah. Capital B.
Understand that we do not want to be a quota. Quota system is not the proper way to implement it. Even when in different states, affirmative action has existed and not existed or whatever, and they use a quota system, please understand that even with affirmative action, they're not doing it right. First, white women benefit from affirmative action more than anybody else because white women are also considered a minority. And if you think about DBEs, I don't ask me what the acronym means, but it's when you try to give grants and stuff to minority businesses, husbands will make their wife 51% owner so that you can classify as a DBE, and then you can go for all these like government contracts and all this stuff. So there's like, quota is not the way that diversity should be implemented at all. And that was one of my bullet points. And you should not just hire anyone just to prove that diversity doesn't work, because I know that happens. Let's just hire this person who is obviously not prepared. They're going to suck at the job, and they're going to be like, see, diversity doesn't work.
I also feel like some of that is happening with like this surge of, I guess, Black people that say that their work contribute to the animation industry, and like all these cold emails and DMs. Like, I feel very wary about stuff that I've been receiving, and people asking me to like, oh, do I know an animator or something, a designer or whatever, and I'm just like, are you just trying to say partially that like you tried and it didn't work, or are you really trying to diversify your team of people, or do you just want a Black person to say that our team or production isn't racist? Like, there's just so many layers with some of this stuff, but I've been thinking about that a lot, what you're saying.
Can I share a quick story?
Please.
Yes.
This is why the approach to diversity is a problem. So people, Black women specifically, have been doing some really amazing work. So like Bree and Wayman from Black and Animated, I can't believe I can't remember her name, but she created the Drawing While Black hashtag. And basically what's happening is they're eliminating the excuse that you have, because one big excuse I keep hearing is, oh, I can't find any Black creatives.
Yes.
I can't find any Black talent. Where's the Black talent? That's more of your problem, because that shows that you don't have a diverse network that you claim to have. Two, a lot of those excuses have been eliminated. There's whole catalogs, there's whole, I guess, directories you can reach out from. Here's the problem with that. I hope that it doesn't become weaponized. So like the other night, I got an email from a company essentially reaching out for a storyboard artist. So I opened the email to see what's up. One, it was an extreme, the pay was so low that it was insulting. Two, the company emailed everybody in the directory. CC everybody. Not BCC, CC everybody in the directory.
I heard about that.
I'm talking music engineers, directors, music composers, people that don't even have nothing to do with storyboarding. Let me drop this real quick to everybody and see who takes the bite. And when I tell you, everybody proceeded to put in the same effort they did and replied to the whole thread, and was like, so let me count the ways of how you got me messed up. Like, the people were literally like, this is the problem we're telling that you guys are doing, and you literally did it anyway. And then someone from the company responded and was like, well, I didn't mean nothing by it. Take the opportunity or don't. And I'm just like, if I was paid, I would go and find your Twitter and let Twitter light you up.
Yeah.
I to piggyback off that, another story, there was a Twitter artist. I won't put him on blast, because but essentially they kind of came after a couple Black artists who were vocal on Twitter just about
I feel like I know who this is.
Yeah, they were being vocal about this person kind of not being, like, basically being a toxic artist. And their response was very defensive and basically saying along the lines of, oh, well, I'm going to have to block you. That sucks. I'm an art director. I could have given you a job.
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I like just the pure defense that has continued through this person's page.
Double down.
Just doubling down and not walking anything back. And it's just like, you're missing the entire point. And it's like, completely. And it's like one of those things where it's like, I wouldn't want to work with you anyway. This is how you are. You say problematic things and then you double down on it as like you didn't do anything wrong. Like, that's not how you diversify. Like, if you want to diversify your workplace, like, that's not genuine. It's disingenuous. Like, if you're not really about it, just don't even, like, we don't even need you. Like, we don't want that. We want people who are actually about it. Came out as a gatekeeper. You like, yes.
Like, oh cool, I gotta make sure that you don't get any work.
I gotta make sure
if I have anything to do with it, I'm gonna sabotage it. Like, he's literally like, I'm going to sabotage any opportunity that you come across from here on out.
But I like, Twitter, we did our best to light him up, but it was just like that. I mean, you know,
He's not the only one too.
He's not the only, you know what I mean? Like if he's thinking like that and he's actually vocal about it, like you can sure bet there are other people in the, like throughout all industries that have that same mindset.
Yeah, you're lighting him up, but he's not gonna catch on fire because he don't care.
No.
Right.
Okay, so to piggyback off of that,
let Jordan. Jordan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's exactly the point I was making earlier, where I said that that there are people out there that are exactly like this, and those people, after a certain point, you have to decide: am I going to either like let these things slide so I could potentially one day get a job, or and just keep these toxic environments going by like self-aggrandizing myself to these people, or am I just going to move on, say what I got to say, and keep it moving? They said even when, like, I'm glad you guys don't find it with that, but I keep saying what I say on Twitter and on my social media because this is more important than what some gatekeeper dude has to say about all these things. And if that means that if one day I get to a studio and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we gotta let you go because like because some dude over here like that doesn't like you," I'm like, so be it. I said I got other places to be. I'll dip because obviously this is not the place I want to be.
Yeah.
Jaren?
oh, I was gonna say like let's take it a step further. So we know that the working industry, Black people only make up like 2 to 3%. How do y'all feel about these companies coming out with their Black Lives Matter posts saying they're in support of Black people in the movement, but it's not really reflected in their workspace?
You got to open your purse. Open your purse. Drop some coins into these organizations. And, you know, I think we all are, luckily social media has been around enough that I think we're all literate into when we can kind of see through like a PR stunt or just a PR move and understanding that it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, you commented on this, but like, what are you doing next? Because this is not like I did my job here, so diversity is solved. We fixed it. We got racism. We fixed it. It's like, no,
particularly
like what
when the message is copy and pasted.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone's sharing the exact same verbiage
on a black background with white text.
Yeah. It feels like the flavor of the month.
Yeah.
Like normally this time we'd have rainbow flags, but now it's like, hey, by the way, we don't want you to die, so you can still buy stuff.
Right.
Like, that's what it says to me. It's like we only want to care about you because we care about your dollars. And if we seem racist, you may not buy from us. And it's like,
yeah, I'm not buying you. I want action. I want to see I want to hear what they have actually done like 3 months from now. I want to know what they have done by the end of the year, like their roundups. I saw there was like this challenge, I think maybe like with beauty products or in the beauty industry where they're calling out how much of their workforce, if you will, how diverse it is. And like things like that. I want to see like, okay, if you put this statement out in June and December, how has these numbers changed? You know, I want to see like from these studios with this, like you saying, black background and white text, like, okay, well, what efforts have you done? Have you contributed to local organizations that are trying to educate kids from low income communities about animation and comic books exposure, things like that? Like, what are you guys doing as a studio? I would say we have one studio here on the East Coast that I don't think they do enough recruiting from the East Coast for being a big studio that's here. So they put out a statement, which I understand they're owned by somebody else now. But it's like, okay, well, how can you do better to make a presence within the community that's right here around you? You don't need to outsource from California to bring people across the country. Like, what are you actually going to be doing, you know? Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say I also think too, like this going back to kind of the pandemic and the whole work from home scenario, I think should kind of open like theoretically, right? It should open things up more because that was always a big factor for me growing up in the Midwest was like I had to literally move to Los Angeles, like more than halfway across the country to find that community. But now you see that animation can be produced remotely, and even my boutique studio, CBA, we do everything. We've always done everything remote since 2017. you're able to, well, it's cool because I'm able to work with artists from the East Coast, from the Midwest, from the West Coast, from the South, hell, even from like Africa, parts of Africa, South Africa, Jamaica, islands, places that I know these studios aren't. They're geographically locked, but it's also realizing that the industry exists outside of like Canada, like Vancouver, LA, and New York. Like there's so much more out there, and especially
it probably
artists.
enhances your work experience too, getting to work with all those different kinds of people.
Oh, it's great. I love it. I love getting to meet like people from all over the world. It's dope.
Excuse me, 1 second off topic. We refer to Belle Hayford as the girl who started Drawing While Black. Her pronouns are they, them.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, keep going. I just wanted to make sure we got that right.
Yeah. And in response to companies responding, Black people ain't stupid. Like, I feel like people think we stupid. Like, we have brains. We're educated. Like, we know the stories of what before you posted your Black Lives Matter, and we are skeptical of your actions after. Like, you can't think that we're happy. That's why I created you can't think that's enough. Like, y'all been doing it, like, whether it's so many, because we're not gonna talk about politics, but the people who, like, you really thought that was gonna work. Like,
I work a lot in children's books, and there was specific, I won't say the publishing house, but there was a publishing house that I pitched to a while back, and they came out with their whole Black Lives Matter post, and I'm like, I should literally screenshot the email that y'all sent me telling me that my work is too Black and Black stories don't sell. I literally should just tag it right underneath your post and say, come again?
This you?
I thought you said something. Yeah. I thought somebody said something.
Like, come on, y'all.
We know we got receipts. Like, that's the thing too, is like, I don't think companies realize that we literally have receipts that show like, oh, well, you say you Black Lives Matter and you do all this, but like, I bet we all, like, I know I have the same thing with, it's like just so many emails and conversations I've had where it's like, oh, well, Black, like, stories aren't really like, you gotta add, maybe can they turn into like an animal or something, or can they have like an alien piece? Is there a magical thing you can add to, like, you want to just have a short about Black kids joining a dance troupe? Like, what more can we, like? And it's like, no, that's a story. Like, it's so crazy to have, just have those receipts and seeing the responses, what initiatives, like Monique said, like, what initiatives are you going to start? Like, where are we going to be in 6 months? In February of 2021, are we still going to be in the same spot? Like, is it going to feel like that? But it's definitely like, it's just crazy to me how it's like, yeah, we are smart. We have receipts. We've been trying to, just because you're just now recognizing that this exists doesn't mean that it didn't exist decades and decades before.
It's going to be interesting to see the kind of renaissance that's going to be a result of this, because companies, I feel like, and it's not all of them, some of them are actually making the strides, but I feel like a lot of them are basically buying their time until things return to quote unquote normal. And what's going to happen is you're basically going to force Black creatives to just start creating these stories on their own. And the day that they do that, y'all going to be mad. Y'all going to be mad when y'all see the way these, because look at what Hairlove did on its own. Mm-hmm. But it's also frustrating because he had to do that and make all of that noise himself just to be considered in the running that everybody else was already considered in. Facts. The amount of noise he had to make to be entered in with the Oscars was ridiculous. Because like half of the other films I ain't never heard of.
Mm-hmm. He literally had to do like a real like press run tour leading up to it, and like I've never seen that done in animated shorts. The short animated shorts category, like what? But I think you hit the nail on the head. You're gonna start seeing the rise of, I think, Black-owned like animation specific studios, and like I know there's like Lion Forge, there's like The Line. There's like one in an anime studio in Tokyo, I think just opened up. That's Black owned this past week. I read about
the arts or something like that. The art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah.
But it's like, it's that idea of like, is us trying to fix an already broken system really the way to go about doing it? Or should we, like, because again, it seems like, we might want to like eat at the table, but like you look at who's around the table, like that doesn't seem like good company. We might be better off building our own. Like that's
I'm all for the build it and they will come, because it feels like when you're pitching ideas to these other studios, these two white guys can pitch an idea and they'll fund the whole project. They literally expect you to pitch them the idea, shoot it down, go back and make the whole thing yourself, do all of the work by yourself, figure out how to fund it yourself, all of that, and then come to them and be like, I made a thing. Now will you take the time to look at it? If I gotta go do all of that, we done. Don't even come knocking on my door for licensing. We got Monique?
Yeah.
Have you been trying to say something? Or?
Oh, no.
Oh,
I haven't.
sorry.
I've just been agreeing. I've just been agreeing.
Oh, Jordan, do you got any?
I completely agree. If you're gonna go through all that trouble, it said you might as well just go through and push it yourself. Like, because you obviously shown that you don't need them. And honestly, at that, I would love for there to be a whole second industry of that, of just Black animators and Black artists. This is out there making our own stories. If they don't want to do it, then we'll have to do it ourselves, and we'll do it better than them. Because at least when we're coming from it, we're not at the end of the day. That is not coming from a spot of just like, what age group can we sell this to? It's the fact that we know that there's going to be some kid that's going to watch this and be like, oh hey, he looks like me. She looks like me.
It's authentic.
My nephew he's autistic, and when I first showed him Craig of the Creek, his eyes lit up because they had the same haircut. It's like, and he thought it was awesome because he loves watching cartoons, he loves watching anime, but being able to sit down and watch Craig of the Creek on Disney Plus at that, he was like, not on the Cartoon Network app. It was just like, he looks just like me. And seeing his eyes light up, this like autistic kid like that was like exactly the reason why we need to be making these stories.
The same thing happened with Into the Spider-Verse.
Does anybody else get it?
Yeah, because when you're not talking, can you mute? Because I don't know who that is. But the same thing happened with Into the Spider-Verse when I did my review with one of my mentors, and I put up a post of a Black mother who, her son was so excited that for Halloween he could dress up as someone and not have to be the Black version of this person. He could be the authentic version of this comic book character, and then like to just see you would think in a capitalist society to see the success of Black Panther and the spending power of the African diaspora. We could be totally fine if we go off by ourselves. We go bring in all the African countries, and they gonna be spending money too, and they gonna be making money, and so it's possible.
I mean, how many shows does Tyler Perry have? I mean, obviously you're getting something.
Not Tyler Perry.
No, I will say that the crazy thing about
his thing. Don't be hating on Tyler.
No. I was gonna say the craziest thing about Tyler Perry, he's the only show runner person in the history of television. When he pitched House of Pain, TBS bought 100 episodes. That was like the first deal. Only TV person ever to go in with the show and immediately get instant syndication for like ever, basically.
Wow.
So you gotta definitely. I know it's content, whatever, but he definitely needs a writer's room. But like what he's been able to do is, I think, is a good example of like he went off and did it. And didn't really care about what people were saying or thinking because he knew his audience and people were down and just support.
No, he has his own problems, but I do respect the work he does because you see him everywhere.
But I do admire that he's like directing, producing, like he's writing, he's doing his stuff. What I'm really want to stop seeing is the whole two white guys that go back and hire enough swag to pull off a Black or a person of color show.
See,
like when you start going behind the scenes. Huh?
I said there was definitely a comment of someone commented just about how a lot of these shows that have at least like diverse characters are still made by white creators.
Black creators have stories to tell.
Right.
Good stories.
That's very true. It feels weird when you see these things, and it's kind of like, did you really need to make this story when there are plenty others that could have made this story that from a far more in-depth experience than that's what they have. It feels like being sold an experience secondhand. Like,
So I wanna hop back into a topic that Jaren brought up about the because that was a topic about the proper use of all these lists that are and suggestions of the proper use. So somebody tweeted, pretty sure people are just using one of the Black cartoonist / illustrator databases to just mass email people, like you said, about jobs in the industry, which is not the way. Like, why am I getting an email about this? Take some care. And then there was another post I saw in a Facebook group where it was on behalf of someone else, where they're like, oh, my friend is looking for a Black animator and he couldn't find any. And I was just like, did he type Black animator? Like how hard did you try if you still can't find? And I feel like in our society, some people are some white people are afraid to use the word Black, and so that has infiltrated their Google searches. And so don't be afraid of the word Black, and don't be afraid to type the word Black in front of whatever you're looking for, because something will come up on Twitter, Instagram, hashtags, just searches, Google searches. I promise you'll be able to find them if you type the proper words. So what is some suggestions of the proper ways to use these lists?
well, to actually use them properly as part of their job, for one thing. It's like,
do your job.
Yeah, it's like you have this giant database. Like, I know this because I'm in that same database. I got that exact same email, and I know exactly where I'm at. I'm in the painting category.
Right.
So,
the list is it's category. All the work is done for you. Just search.
Yes,
Sorry.
exactly. Like, honestly, if you do your job properly, you wouldn't have to worry about all these racial faux pas. That's honestly one of the big issues with it, is that they're so into their own biases and the lack of effort. It almost feels like, like they're throwing people to, like, we'll throw these scraps to the Black people in here, we'll get somebody. But it's also like, you couldn't even do your job. You couldn't even click on the part that you wanted. There's a whole list of storyboarders there, and you couldn't even go that far. Your lack of effort, your lack of care was that much. You couldn't scroll that little thing to the left and click. But no, you have to do everybody.
But then it's almost just like you don't care. So like, what do you do when you know for a fact they don't care?
It's a shame, because you know that they're doing this in order to try and get somebody above them had the idea that basically we should look up these students and get some diversity in our curriculum. That, and instead it was like they hired somebody that just didn't care about what they were doing. And in the end, they ended up getting this whole big old set of backlash, and they're like, how can we hire this idiot? And basically they're getting roasted in my email, and I love it, by the way. I'm never deleting that email.
Oh my God. For me, because I actually hire, I'm fortunate enough to be able to hire artists to work on projects. How I find talent is literally I'm just always looking. I don't stop. I'm never not. If I see anybody's artwork and I'm like, oh, that's dope, like I'll just click on their page and I go to their portfolio. I find a way to reach out to them. I find a way to, and it's not, it's typically just based on like whatever project I'm getting for the time. It's like, oh, this person has a really great style, like boom, reach out to them. And then also just like starting to like build like a database of artists, Black artists who I've worked with. And like, it's not like, I've never I've seen the list. I'm in some of the databases as well. But really, I just I'm using like Instagram and Twitter, and like I'm always just like searching for like Black artists, because I know like if I'm like, who's gonna do it? If not me, then who? Like type. That's kind of like, and I wish more people figured out that like it's you almost like, if you're trying to go for like a list or a directory, like that's a great resource, great tool, absolutely. But there's other ways to go about finding Black talent too. And it's like, literally, if you like look up any hashtag on Instagram with like Black animator, Black artists connected, Black Chocolate City Comics, like there are all these pages, Black creatives, there are all these pages and that are literally devoted to showing Black made art and content. Follow one of them. You know what I mean? Like there's like different, you got to get, like if you're expecting someone to try to do like all that diversity work for you, then it's so disingenuous, and it's like, it's not going to be like a authentic environment. And like, it's I can't describe how cool it feels when I'll like hop on a Zoom call with like the short we're working on, Batu. It's like there's like 20 people working on the short. You pull up our Google Hangout, is all Black faces. Like and it's like, oh damn, like I didn't even like necessarily mean to like do that. I just was going off of like whose art that I responded positively to, and like I knew could come onto the project. So it's like, lists are great, but I wish that people also understood that there's multiple ways to skin a cat. And so if you're only trying to look at like one specific way, then that's not going to be, it's disingenuous. You actually have to be, it's an active thing. It's not like one day we're going to just hire some Black people. It's like, no, like you should be looking at these artists. You should be meeting them. You should be talking to them, engaging with them, commenting on their work, liking their stuff, sharing it to your story, retweeting. There's so many other ways that you can amplify Black voices. Like a list seems so like specific for like a one specific thing, but I guess this goes back to like what are companies doing? It's like, what initiatives are you doing to amplify Black voices? Because I think that's the biggest thing, is we just aren't being heard. It's been crazy to actually like talk to different people about like, well, what can we do? And I'm like, oh damn, you actually want to hear like my true real thoughts about diversity, the animation industry. It's been like empowering in regards to that, but also it's just like you're starting to see just a lot of kind of the holes that exist, and how can you connect all of them. And I think that's one of the great things about social media, because we all have followed one another, and we have kind of already built that community. So it's cool to, especially on a call like this, to come in and actually like chop it up with everyone about, like, we all have felt and have gone through like the same things. It's just really dope.
Yeah, and like you said, it's always important to like boost other artists, retweet. I'm always suggesting artists, whether I know them or not. Like, hey, you're looking for a background artist, I know this dope artist that will help you out, and their work is amazing. And I'm always like passing on their Instagram or their Twitters and sharing their work, just because it's dope work.
Like even if you're not hiring for a project right now, like that doesn't mean you can't amplify Black voices or you can't engage with Black artists. Like, it's an ongoing thing. It's like a real, like, that's, to me, that's like real networking. It's not going to like a panel or something and like seeing like, all right, cool, I met a Black artist tonight and I'll keep them in mind whenever the next thing is hiring. I'll never talk to them again. It's like, no, like, are you actually keeping up and forging authentic, genuine relationships with these artists?
It's a marathon.
Yeah, I also think I also think it's important to not be afraid to take up space. Like, me, Deborah, and Monique are known for showing up places we probably ain't supposed to be. So we stay infiltrating somebody's inner circle
all the time. We're showing up.
Animator happy hours, different closed events. I'm notorious for being somewhere I'm not supposed to be. And I will walk right up to them. Hey, how you doing? They're like, do you have an invitation? No, but this is what I do.
I actually want to double back. I'm sorry. It's
No,
not long.
go ahead.
Just to double back to what you're saying, like just in case there are people who aren't Black watching this and they've come across the list, for instance, the Drawing While Black directory, the way to use it is to not stop at the name that you see, right? To actually click on, if you have a link to their profile, as Chaz was saying, their social media and stuff like that, and actually look at their work. And when you contact them, make it personal by saying, oh, like I saw this on your profile, I liked it, and I think you could be a good fit in this opportunity. Are you interested? Instead of doing that mass email that went out to hundreds of you, where that person didn't even stop to actually look like, does this make sense? Emailing this person, like you have to go beyond the fact that you see a list of emails and you know that everyone here is Black, allegedly. I think that's what people have to do.
So I did want to talk about the tweet that I saw, which is the reason I invited Jordan. And so he tweeted, "I prefer it if non-Black artists would draw us in times of joy. You don't only need to paint us suffering. After a certain point, it feels like capitalizing on Black pain. Every day I see lots of artists acting like drawing and painting Black people is such a challenge until these things happen. And now I see all this new art of us dying and in change. I just don't need it. We have happy moments too." So Jordan, you could be the first to speak on your thoughts around what you said.
Yeah, about that. It's like, honestly, everything I said that really lays it out right there. It's just that I'm constantly hearing from other artists like that how much of a challenge that our Black faces are to draw and making stories about us. But it seems like when one of these things happen, everyone wants to come out of the woodwork to show us crying and in handcuffs and dying. And it's like, why do you want to wait till now to learn how to draw Black people? So you can make this print that you say is going to go, that the donation is going to be made. But basically it feels like you've only learned how to draw Black faces, how to draw Black noses, so that way you can be able to go out there and get some clout. But then right is over, you're gonna go right back to drawing those same white characters over and over again. Over at that. And then maybe in another 6 months, when we have somebody else dying on camera, then you'll make somebody else. But else that is like, this is like learning how to draw Black people of other races, especially Black people, shouldn't be an occasional thing. It should be something basic that every artist and illustrator should know how to do. Because if you can't do it the rest of the year, then you're just not a very good artist. You can't draw Black people. Sorry. It's like, because you spend all those times in figure drawing classes like that and studying like that, why are you only drawing white people? We're all here. And it's like, and the fact that they choose now to come up with all this, to come up with all these print ideas, and we're making T-shirts now of a crying Freddie Gray and everything else, like for merch purposes. That is like, so are you doing this for the profit? You doing this for the clout? Like, you weren't here with us before
to get Black dollars.
Yeah, basically, it's like, so you can be able to go out there and say, I'm going to sell this print for $30, and such amount of the profit is going to go to this. But at the end, it's just like, you're basically just like promoting like tragedy porn. You're profiting off Black pain. And it's like, I don't need to see this. Like, I was like, we live this every day. I made the point earlier that sometimes it feels like I wake up every day to see which person that looks like me is dead. And it's like, I don't need, and I don't need to see art of it. And I don't need to see non-Black people like trying to translate our pain for us. It's like, if you want to draw about that, it's like maybe draw us at a time like that, then we're happy. It's celebrate Black people. Don't only show us when we're sad and trying to memorialize us. It's like Trayvon Martin wanted to be an aerospace engineer. That he wanted to work on planes. You could paint that instead of painting him dead on the floor. It's like basically the forgot his name, the cosplayer that was literally at the store buying s'mores for his kids. It said he loved anime, he loved Samurai Champloo, and he died looking at a BB gun in a Walmart. You got in a Walmart like that. It's like, you could literally just make fan art of him in cosplay. We have plenty of joyful, wonderful Black moments like that we go through every day. We are not just pain. And why do you want to go through and only seem to want to make art of us of that? Like who's asking for that?
a lot of people are exposing themselves actually by doing that, because when you call them out on that exact thing, they get very defensive about like their right to draw Black trauma porn. And the spectacle of Black death has always been something that like it's like I know my reaction to it, but it's always just crazy to see other people's reaction, because I don't think it really affects them the way it affects all of us. And that like a lot of those people, it's like they've been telling on themselves like this since this whole thing has started, because you'll see just how like defensive they get about their right to draw like black trauma porn. And I'm in the same boat with you, Jordan, is that like I only like want to see like Black characters doing fun stuff, like joyous stuff, because it's like you don't, I feel like you never really get to see that. Even when I think of like animated protagonists in like movies and in TVs, like they're in such a struggling like position, that it's like it's almost more radical to see like Black people experiencing joy, embracing one another, hugging, like touching each other lovingly, like all this stuff that like when you really start to break down like the images of us in animation and in cartoons, it's like, you know, like you it's almost more radical to see Black joy to me than it is, you know, trauma porn.
It's kind of like when you watch these award shows and you see that every year there's a new movie about slavery and segregation, and it's like, how come these are only movies like that you think can get awards when it comes to Black people? It's like, I don't need another slave movie. It's like, I know my history. It's like we're all still suffering the effects from it, but it seems like all these other audiences like that want a refresher course for every year, and to put up on a big pedestal like that when there are plenty other Black filmmakers making these things, making things like that that need to be seen, and you just don't need to kind of keep reliving the same things over and over again, and let that be the only way to get a reward.
Yeah, and I don't want to put like shackles on Black people's expression, but when I saw See You Yesterday on Netflix, I just was like, I was excited because it was Black kids doing time travel, but then it was mired in our oppression because she was trying to bring back her brother who got killed by the police, and I'm just like, why can't we just be joyous? Like, why does it have to be connected to slavery or the civil rights movement or the police brutality? Like,
I couldn't finish it.
I get it, but
my biggest critique was like, if you're gonna do kids time traveling, they would obviously go back to like slavery and try to kill like a bunch of slave masters, and then like they go back and they're like, oh, the world's different. What do we do? Like, you know, like do something. Like, you don't have to. Like, again, there's more. Yeah, like, why do you have to connect it to that always? And like, I don't know how, like, that was kind of my big thing with Queen and Slim too. Like, when I saw that, I spoilers if anyone hasn't seen it, but it's like, why couldn't they just get away? Why, like, would that have been so
bad to have that escape?
Bad to have that, you know what I mean? Like, just let us have something, you know?
One thing I've been noticing lately is like, I've been watching like a lot of magical, I guess you could say, content, and I'm noticing whenever there's like Black kids involved, they're either like the dark one, or they do the bad magic, or they do the magic that everybody doesn't consider. Like, I want to see kids have like a magical adventure where they're just having fun, like just chilling, like it's not all this rooted in trauma. Like what you were saying about See You Yesterday, I was watching it and I was enjoying it, and as soon as I saw where it was about to go, I was like, I can't watch this, I'm done. I'm not gonna just sit here and watch this over and over. And then people aren't understanding, you may just now be joining the party with all of this trauma that's going on. We experience this all day, every day. And most of the time we're experiencing multiple versions of this on repeat because everybody's sharing it over and over and over. And I'm just like, to turn around and like, most people consider entertainment as a form of escape. Why would you keep regurgitating that in entertainment?
And it's like, these content, we're expected to watch it, but it's like Nickelodeon does a pause for like 9 minutes, and all of a sudden like that, everybody's like, our kids can't handle it, and it's kind of like, But what you expect black kids to constantly handle, basically seeing their people get killed every day, and every piece of media, almost every piece of media that seems to always have to come right back to the idea that at one point they don't have they, even now like that, they still don't have the same rights as everybody else. They have all these unfair expectations on them, but for a white kid watching Nickelodeon at that, they can't sit down and pause for 9 minutes and then get a Black Lives Matter ticker at the end.
Their parents are saying that when it's like, man, your parents were the ones screaming at Ruby Bridges like 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Like, what? Like, yeah, I mean, like growing up, you know, we all have to like experiencing that way early. Like, we can't just be viewed as just kids. And so, and I think that's just one of the like, you know, I think of like Craig of the Creek and like Spider-Verse. It's those things are important because it's showing Black kids really just being authentic Black kids. Like literally the Miles Morales having like a Chance the Rapper poster in his dorm room. Like those are like the little things that like make it just like this authentic, you know, genuine feeling experience and being like, oh, cool, I actually really connect with it. I feel like I would know this person in real life.
And that's how you know Black people were involved, because of all the nuances that we notice.
It was so authentic. Like, it was a genuinely authentic experience.
Man, when they played that Notorious B.I.G. song, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. I'm here.
I really paid a lot of money. I love that movie so much. I paid so much money for kids to go see that movie.
That's how I was with Black Panther. I think I saw Black Panther like 12 times. I went and saw it with somebody different every time. Every time it was just cool to see how everybody in the theater would have like a different reaction to whatever was happening on screen. Like, do y'all remember the video of the little boy who got the Black Panther figurine for Christmas and he was just running around screaming like, Wakanda forever? I'm just like, I want more of that for these kids. Like, they need to have like those moments where they can see something that's theirs, like unapologetically theirs.
See, like I got to the point where I was literally paying for kids to go see it, like, because I mean, in terms of like having like Black males growing up in like cartoons like that, you had like, I'm sure you guys know what that it was, the Black Power Ranger, Static Shock, and then like John Stewart Green Lantern, but he was like 40. But and so when Black Panther and then Spider-Verse came out, after I watched it, it was so important for me that like when I would go to, because I saw these movies a ton of times myself, but when I would see other kids who wanted to go see it, like either after school in high school like that, or just like the kids bugging their parents to go see Spider-Verse again like that, I'm like, yo, it's like kids tickets are like $8. I got you. You can pay for the popcorn. Like that. It's like I spent more than I really should have, to be honest. I checked that bank statement. It hurt a little bit, but it was worth it because I didn't really get to have that, because since I didn't get to have that moment until I was maybe like 25, the fact that they could have this moment at 8 and 9 and 12 years old, that meant the world to me, because they're going to get to spend the rest of their like childhood and early like that, knowing that they can be heroes. They can be heroes like that they can be that they can be kings. They can they can go out there and fight evil. That they're not meant to just be side characters. That they're not going to just be villains and thugs and everything else like that, and villain goon number 2. It's like they deserve that, and we had to wait for that, but they don't have to. And it's like, and I think that it's a job of this whole industry, not just us, to be able to create those moments for everybody.
And I think too, what's super inspiring is you have those examples that are more like fantasy hero stuff, and then you look at the flip side, slice of life, where you have, I guess, Craig of the Creek, but more recently, I think Care Love even. Like, they have a Black dad with dreads, basketball shorts, flip-flops.
Yes.
Flip-flops on.
Even tattoos, right?
Yeah, the dad looks like their dad.
The dad looks like oh, this is modeled after someone, right? But no, it's like, and just like little Black kids being able to say, like, normalizing their hair. Like, I think that is like, and that's what I mean, where it's like, it's crazy that Black joy almost seems more radical than like, because I feel like that's the stuff that people want and really want to like see. Like, you know, the Black trauma porn, I think we've moved past that. Like, if you don't know by now, then sorry. Like, I was so sick of growing up in school. Every MLK day, we had to watch Our Friend Martin.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all remember that?
Oh, you can't forget it.
But it's just like, I'm just so happy now that I feel like kids nowadays, like, they can watch Spider-Verse, they can watch Hair Love, you know, like there are literal options. And I think that's, you know, for me, that's really, I think I found that's what it brings me the most joy with animation, is trying to create stuff that me 10 years ago would love or be like, wow, like I didn't know that these stories could exist. And really just trying to like empower, you know, young Black kids to know that they can do anything, they can be anything. And like, here are several representations of that. It's not just like parents telling you can be anything. It's like, no, here's literal IP and content that you can like look to and get, you know, stories of. You know, that stuff is so huge, I think.
Do y'all remember Happily Ever After? Fairy tales for every child?
Yeah.
I used to love that show, and I loved it literally because I would always wait to hear the voice actors, because I could always tell it was a Black person voicing the character. Like, I'm like, oh, that's Whoopi Goldberg, or like, that's LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow. I always wanted to hear, like, it was so cool to hear that Black voice coming from that cartoon. It was like, I know, I might not know this person by name, but I know I'm listening to a Black voices cartoon. I don't know, that was random, but.
So I wanted to highlight a couple, because I wasn't paying attention the whole time, but what do you think about mentorships? Like, because when we were talking about portfolio reviews, like mentorships and sponsorships. So the difference between a mentorship and a sponsorship is someone to kind of help you get to the door, and then sponsorship is someone to help you get you through the door. So like mentorship, giving people advice, but sponsorship is when you're not in the room, this is someone who's advocating for you. So what do you guys think about that?
I think they're both good things. I think it depends on who they're being offered to. You can't just like we said before, there are people that don't actually need the portfolio reviews. With that, there are people that have been doing this for ages. Doing this for ages. What they need is the sponsorship, not like a regular mentorship to get you through the door. So it depends on. So you can't just go through this blanket statement. Oh, if you're Black, I'll give you a mentor. I'll mentor you to get in the door. It's like, it's like, no, I'm already at the door. Like, I need to get in. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like that's the problem. And so,
and to go along with that, another a tweet. No lie, in my inbox, this is from somebody not in animation. No lie, in my inbox, I have 14 requests today for virtual panels, podcasts, and media inquiries to share my opinions on new funds. I don't need any more opportunities. I just need funding. And so for us, we don't need any more like of this arbitrary thing. Give us jobs. Jobs.
No, exactly. Like, people are blowing up my Twitter right now, and it's like, that's cool and all, but like, this Twitter is literally just for me to just send out my job post, because it was just a Twitter for me to complain about college and getting late in college. That was it, like in 2009. But I just sent out my job post. I don't really care about the amount of followers I got that. It just had one similar post. What I'm looking for is industry work, is to get benefits, because that would dramatically improve my life.
Like Chad said, open your purse.
Yeah, actually. It's like, throw me the bag. Yep.
It's like, it's resources, you know, like what resources are you actually providing to, you know, like even with CBA. So this is our first summer. We have interns. We got 4 interns. And so part of that internship, and it's paid, is I'm trying to teach them Toon Boom Harmony, like in depth, like real in depth, and trying to provide them with skills and resources. And so, you know, by the time the internship is done, you know, it's like, it's that whole thing of just like, there's a bit of like that mentorship with like some sponsorship, but it's like it's an active, ongoing thing, right? Like it can't just be like, oh, well, we invited you onto this brand panel, then we talked about diversity, and then we're back to our regularly scheduled program. It has to be a marathon, like everyone said, and there's intent. There has to be intention behind it, and building, recognizing that we have to build. You have to build people up, almost, like, especially like with these younger artists. It's like, you know, I'm focused on trying to build them up, so, you know, in 20 years they're the ones hiring me. You know, like it's that type of giving back to the community and trying to, you know, build those resources and those connections, like, just from the ground up, like from jump, like, not even like giving them a chance to become jaded by all of what we had to go through. You know, like, let's change the course.
Another comment, need a HBCU for animation. Man,
That's my best friend. Shout out to Jasmine.
I may actually go back to college for that.
That's like I have like a list of goals, and one of them is to open the studio. I'm trying to be on my Chad's bottom to get my own studio going. But another one is to literally open. I know it won't be considered a HBCU because it's a historically Black college and university, but I want the equivalent for art school, because one of the things that I've noticed, so like, look at most of the Black Panther class, aside from like Chadwick Boseman, went to white Ivy League schools. I'm just like, imagine if you took all of that Black talent and put it in one space. And it doesn't have to just be like animation. It can be music. It can be traditional art with painting and sculpture and photography. Take these kids and teach them how to do music in there. But imagine how, like, I remember my HBCU experience was so dope because the people that were educating me and were passionate about educating me looked like me and had a similar background to me. And I feel like that has like an effect that trickles on for years to come. Like, let's figure out how to, same thing like they say with the athletes, stop sending them to these Black athletes to white schools, send them to HBCUs, but you also have to give them the tools, because one of the reasons I went to SCAD was because my HBCU didn't have an animation program. If it did, I would have stayed. Mm-hmm. But because it didn't, I had to go somewhere else. So
yeah, when I went to college, Morgan State didn't have animation.
Mm-hmm. They had like a traditional art, but not really.
I think another HBCU is VCU, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I did a video on my YouTube channel. Go check it out.
Yeah. Like, I did my traditional studies at HBCU, and then I did like my animation focus at SCAD.
Yeah. See.
So, Dre, talking about like getting together, teaching Zoom classes, like just doing the community thing where we just help each other out.
See, so I actually don't do that one day.
Sorry, was that Jordan?
Oh no, so good.
Oh, okay. With Diverse Tunes, that was pre-COVID. Part of our initiative for the summer was to making accessible virtual programming for a lot of the stuff that our panelists are specialize in. So that's still an initiative of ours that we want to be able to launch. I don't know if it'll be able to happen this fall, but definitely within the new year, is having people within our community, people being like looking like us, that are like, you know, so qualified in their respectives, being like VFX, modelers, riggers, all these different parts that go into a production pipeline, coming here, like I said, and then teaching it at an affordable and accessible way to our community.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Because you have some people that do storyboarding, but they may want to get into like visual development, or they're in visual development, and they may want to get into character animation.
And you don't know until you get exposed too. Like,
yeah.
I went to school to become a 3D animator. By the time I graduated, I wanted to do motion capture, and that was all changing in New York at that time. So my story continues spiraling from there. But you don't know until you're like exposed to something, or you kind of have access to it to experiment.
Yeah. Not everybody can do school 2 and 3 times. I'm not trying to be a professional student.
Oh yeah, I hear you.
I'm always willing to learn something. So
I laughed at this. We need the code phrases. I just thought that was funny. Let's see.
Come on, Janice. Say your t-shirt free.
I found out from Ben. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's
unfortunately.
real.
No, it's about who you know. Unfortunately, you got to be able to make those connections. Y'all, it was so crazy. I ended up in a animation happy hour, and I didn't realize that I was in the group with a couple of juggernauts. And Claire King ended up in one of the groups, and she was like, "Oh, hey, Jaren," and I was like, "You talking to me?" She was like, "Yeah." She was like, "I know your work." She was like, "You do amazing work on children's books," and I'm looking around like, "You know my name?" She was like,
Did you
"Yeah, we
follow
talk
up on
about you
Twitter
all the
after?
time."
Like I said,
Yeah, I did, but I'm just like,
Okay.
y'all know my name. Give me a job.
Mhm.
Apparently, y'all been talking about me.
I know that exact feeling.
I do think, I do think there probably is a lot of good dialogue going on behind the scenes right now with like actual people who really want to see that change in the studio space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's that thing of like, let's see where we're at in 6 months. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know,
I definitely think that like we need to make some noise again in like September or something, or October, and say we'll be back in January, like, where this is
with
not over.
screenshots.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You said during COVID.
Yeah.
Right. You
I
said
didn't
3 months
forget.
later.
Oh, I'm screenshotting.
Mhm.
Let's talk about
ready.
Nyla be coming with the heat.
Yo, I love her on Twitter, yo.
She can get the dough down.
Like I want to be her in person.
But you have to be
Yeah, I'm learning. See, like, so Chaz was, like Monique was saying, how she started out. I think you said you started out in 3D.
yeah.
And find out you want to do motion graphics. I'm learning. I think I want to get more on the directing and producing side. Like, I'm really big on story, and I think I want to get more on that side. So I'm like reading all these books and taking all these webinars to learn what I can to figure out more on like the directing side.
So I'm gonna make a shameless plug and come to the Diverse Tombs event next weekend. Because I'll be talking with Jinko, who is a producer and has
I'm in
produced
there
a
like
bunch of
somewhere.
stuff. So it's a one-on-one. So we'll be taking a lot of crowd questions and comments.
That's so.
Yeah.
I can't find it.
Oh, I see the SpongeBob meme with this already. Lord.
That's how it is. That's literally how y'all sound.
Mm-hmm. And that's literally how I say it back to them.
Dre is always down for the cause, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Shit, I said I will too. I will too. I'm coming in there with Dre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm about giving back.
Yeah.
I got a proposition for you, Chaz. I need to slide into your DMs.
Oh, I was gonna say, let's talk, because even after I'm gonna talk to all y'all after this for sure. We gonna figure
people are working behind the scenes.
We gonna figure
Yeah, a lot of us are
some
like,
stuff out.
I'm trying to figure out how to get everybody out of their silos, because I'm like, a lot of us are doing similar work.
Let's all let's lock arms. Yeah.
Yep. I said lately I've been tutoring my neighbor. She's a young black girl like that. She wants to be in animation herself. I helped her with a portfolio to get accepted to the art center.
See,
and
that's so cool that you're teaching her. Like, she's not, you know what I mean? That's gonna have like a major impact on her for years to come.
Well, I didn't have anybody like that. Like that. I have people that gave me opportunities like that, but there was no one that looked like me that she sat down and like gave me the realness about this industry, like that. And so I do the same thing like that. And so does my niece. She's 15. She wants to make cartoons just like her uncle. And so I'm giving her assignments every week. And so like everything I'm learning from these like that new thing, learning from all these like new bits of information that are popping up, I'm making sure I'm taking notes, because these are things that they're going to run into as black women in this industry. And it's like
that's a whole nother TED talk.
Yeah. And I just
we can have the conversation.
Oh no! I said I understand this conversation. I said I used to be in Boy Scouts. I used to lead a troop, and I come from one of the few all black troops in America. And I would have to tell those boys that as black men, we sit right in between racial discrimination and male privilege. And so
black men do not believe they have male privilege sometimes, because they automatically say black male privilege. Like, no, you have male privilege. Take the black off. You got male privilege.
Because at the end
it's so hard for people to understand intersectionality, but that's all I want to say. Continue, Jordan.
Yeah, it's just that, because it's insane. Like, at least on that, because I even see that from other artists. they don't see where their privilege intersects with in other places. But for me, when I see people like when I see all of you guys, it makes me feel better about telling them that like this is something you can do. Like I used to do same talks at my old high school, because you get a lot of black and brown kids who have no idea how they're going to make art work. Just like I didn't. I was going to go get I was going to go get a degree in anthropology at that, because I was like, at least I can be a teacher. I can go work at the library or something like that.
I'm the
But
daughter of immigrants, so you already know how that goes.
So
I said art.
So,
I got a video on my channel about having a supportive parent. So
yeah. My parents were supportive once they found out I can make money.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to teach. Like, because I want to talk to parents as well. Like, there's not always a starving artist trope. If you do it correctly, you and now that we're having more remote work, like there's just so much stigma in our community around art careers that I really want to talk to parents.
Yeah.
And I think that comes back to visibility too.
Mm-hmm.
Always,
you don't have a neighbor that's an animator. That's why I created this channel, so you can see people who look like you.
I'll always say that the starving artist trope, I think too, is a misunderstood thing, where it's like, I don't think it could mean starving financially, but I also think it means fulfill that internal fulfillment of wanting to create the work that you want to create. Like, I feel like a lot of times, like, I mean, I don't know, like for me, like I grew up drawing like a majority non-black characters. And it was when I was like 10, 11, 12, I was like, yo, I actually want to start drawing like people that look like me. And then I started to actually get fulfilled and like actually really that's when I actually got deeper into the field.
Exactly. Like I did the exact same thing. I also drew a lot of anime because it's like I knew that they weren't white. There's like because like not that that's a problem with that, but just the fact is when there's so few black cartoon characters at a time, at least I knew that the people in anime weren't white. They're Asian, or at least coded as Asian, and that figured that would have to do for now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
but now you have Cannon Busters and Black Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't let my niece and nephew watch Black Dynamite yet, but they sure do love that some Craig of the Creek. They sure do love when I put on reruns of Static Shock.
Mm-hmm.
So
Fillmore.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Fillmore.
What was that chicken quote from Fillmore?
Oh, and your chicken was dry.
Yeah, chicken was dry. I was like,
what a good show.
A drag.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like you played.
And Peppa Pig be black sometimes. When she clicked on the phone, like, oh, you can whistle, click.
We need to have a separate conversation too about cartoon characters that are non-human but are definitely black. Like I think like Goofy and Max Goof. I think like from a Goofy movie, they're black. Lion King. I think Bugs Bunny is black. Like,
did we agree Sandy too? Sandy
We're gonna talk about Piccolo for an hour.
Piccolo, yeah.
You take care of the other man's kid.
The next Black woman animator YouTube live characters that we know are black. Elmo, I knew Elmo was black. Yeah. I knew Elmo was black.
Elmo is black.
I knew it. Kevin Clash, I knew you were black.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to say thank you for everyone who was tuning in. Thank you for everyone on the panel. I just want you guys to
thank you.
How people could follow you and anything you're working on. Just your sign off. Let's start with Chaz.
Thank you so much again, Deborah, for having me on. You're doing fantastic work. I just really appreciate you creating kind of the platform to have these conversations. It's really important. But it's been great. I'm Chaz again. You can follow me on Instagram at Chaz Draws. So it's like Chaz and then what I do. And then I'm on Twitter as Chazzy McFly. I'm just currently working on a animated musical titled Batu. It is a original hip hop animated musical set in Chicago about two kids trying to get into a hip blade troupe. It features an all black cast. A majority of the production team behind it is Black, and we have Black EPs, Black producers. We're really trying to continue kind of the more representation in the field. But it's been great talking with everyone.
Jaren?
You can find me at Jaren Merchant. Just take the apostrophe out of my name. That's pretty much on all my social media. I'm working on a couple of unannounced projects. But yeah, you can find me. I pretty much post to Instagram and Twitter most of the time. So you can find me at Jaren Merchant.
Monique?
Okay, so you can find me at this, wherever it is, Simply Robotics, on all social media platforms. From there, you could find diverse tunes. You could find my blog and my podcast and all that I'm working on. It's one-stop shop.
Jordan?
I'm Jordan Mitchell. You can find me on all platforms as Indie Dynamo. Indie as in independent and Dynamo as in machine, all one word. Right now, I'm just working on personal projects, keeping commissions going, and out here trying to make sure these protests get supplies.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm Deborah Anderson. You can follow me on Black Woman Animator on everything. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. Check out my other videos. Dre, who was making comments, I have a couple good videos with him. I have a video with Jaren. I got to get Chaz. I got to get Monique. I got to get Jordan on my channel. And so I'm just constantly trying to highlight, Black artists, because there's not a lot of us, but there's more than we think. So... So I want to, even the old school people, if y'all can refer some people to me that y'all know are connected to, because it's a dichotomy of like, I don't want you to feel like I'm using you, but I want to highlight you. So I'm Facebook friends with a couple people. I'm like, wait for my time, like I'm gonna highlight you. Come on. So yeah, I want to some of the people that's been in the game for years, for decades, I want to highlight. So. Thank you for watching, and I want you to like so I know it's real, comment and tell me how you feel, subscribe to Seal the Deal, and sign up for post notifications to show your zeal, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.